Live. There we go. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of Persuasion by the Pint. I'm Jonathan Taylor, along with
Sean McCool, having a little senior moment there.
Yeah, it was. I've done so many different other things today.
Yeah, you got a lot going on over there in the podcast world. So.
I was like, what show is this? Persuasion by the Pint.
Yes, which show are we doing today? That's the challenge of success right there, man.
There you go.
Keeping it all straight. So
keeping it all. It's like a juggling.
Well, yeah, we've got a special guest today as well. We're going to be talking about how to attract the right audience and repel the wrong one. So yeah, we've been danced around this subject a little bit, but this is like a hard lesson to learn, I think. And I think it's good that we repeat it from time to time. Especially the repelling part. Nobody wants to do that. Everybody feels uncomfortable doing that.
Yeah.
Not everybody. Some people thrive on it, I guess. But
and I think in the age of like AI, because that was like I put out queries this week on copywriters and AI, and my question was is your ability to write copy, is that like the new superpower where everybody's going to ChatGPT or Claude or all of these tools to help them, and then is it becoming, because of that, going in that direction, all of a sudden, does that make the cream rise to the top? And I got a lot of good responses. And our guest today, Danielle, was one of them, talking about, how she separates herself, from all of those copywriters out there that may use that. And she's, how she uses or breathes personality into copy, and the kind of personality that you can't get from AI, I guess. So
exactly. Yes, let me read her bio, and then we'll bring her on. So, as the Chief Personality Officer of More Than Words Marketing, Danielle Hughes helps individuals and institutions to develop their genuine personality brand. This allows you to own and embody your message, feel comfortable expressing it, and convey what makes you different from your competition, so you can attract the right audience and repel the wrong one. Danielle's client list is long and storied and full of name dropping. So since she's showing off, it includes companies like Google, PwC, eBay, Discovery Channel, Capital One, Gap, TD Bank.
That's some good ones.
SEO, Columbia University, and the Jed Foundation, among others. I mean, there's many, many more. Often referred to as a magician with words, while she can't pull a rabbit out of her hat, she can hone your brand message and deadlift you, but not at the same time. That's just irresponsible. No, Danielle is available for office party tricks and accepts payment in bottles of Bordeaux. So we'll be interested to see what she has to drink. So let's bring on Danielle Hughes.
Welcome to the show.
I did not hold her applause. I'm so sorry.
You didn't bring a Bordeaux, though. I know that.
I did not. No, I stuck with the beer theme. So
you brought a juicy IPA.
I understood the assignment.
No, I think she changed her mind on that one, Jonathan. I think
she did.
Gave her a hard time, so we're about to find out.
No, that is not why. It's just I don't have any IPAs in the house, and it's literally like 6 degrees here in New York, and I'm not going out of my house unless I have to. So it was whatever's in the fridge. Yeah.
Yeah, we had our little ice storm here in Austin, so we're over it now. Thank goodness. But so well, before we jump into the beverages, Danielle, give us a little teaser of why people should stick around.
So they should stick around to understand why I call it personality branding versus personal, because there's a very legitimate reason, and I think
there's an itty bitty reason. The difference between personal,
itty bitty but monumental. Yeah.
Yes. Very cool. All right. Well, what do you have as your beverage? What did you choose to bring on to the show today?
So I have a chocolate vanilla cream stout.
Oh, nice.
It's actually from Trader Joe's, so I don't know if that is like against the rules.
That is acceptable. Very acceptable.
But it's supposed to taste like their JoJo's, which is like their knockoff Oreos, essentially. Yeah. So I'm actually very excited about this. I had a peppermint one a couple weeks ago, a chocolate peppermint that was also amazing. So
is that their brand of beer?
Well, it says Hardywood at the top. So I don't know if it's Hardywood is the brewery that they are, but it is branded JoJo's.
Okay. So it is a collab at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very cool. Because I mean, I've been in there, I get their coffee. but I didn't. I'll have to look for that. We may have to run over there tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's seasonal, so you
Yeah,
probably have a
probably.
little bit of time left to get it. But they have
Yeah.
a pretty decent like beer selection, at least here in New York. Like, and they do source from a lot of like the local breweries as well.
Yeah. I have to go
Oh,
check
I
that
love
out.
that place.
Yeah, and one of you is a big stout person, right? Didn't I hear that?
Both of us are, yeah.
We
Yeah,
both
both of
are.
us are.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So, Jonathan, what are you having today?
I have something called it's a Vienna lager called Rust. Now I've never had this on the show before, but I did like the description. They don't have the brewery doesn't have a website, so I had to like scour the interwebs to find something about this. It is a Vienna style lager, made only with German pills and Vienna malts. It says we then step mash before a party decoction as a rite of tradition. Did you understand any of that?
You did not. I guess we'll just have to find out if it tastes good.
So it's 5.2%, nothing heavy. But I love a good lager. So we'll see how this works out today.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right.
All right, on my end, I am having. I like this. I don't know if you've seen these. Usually, there's a 6-pack of these in the grocery store, but there's like 3 different flavors. Isn't the right word, but 3 different styles of beer in it.
Yeah.
So this one is it's from Real Ale Brewing. This is one of like few high gravity beers that you can find like at the grocery store pretty consistently.
Yeah.
So it's Real Ale Brewing. It's Commissar. It is a Russian
Commissar.
Imperial Stout, and it is 9.8 percentage. And the reason I got this week, and I forgot to download the video to share it, but we were going through videos the other night, and my wife pulls up a video of our dog from 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And he was just a puppy, and we just had brought him home, and he was drinking the remnants of one of these.
Oh,
I was like, oh, I remember those beers. It was like 6 years ago is the last time we had it on the show.
Wow.
So,
Commissar.
Yeah.
I just looked. Mine is 9.2 as well. So I will
Very
have
good.
one sip and then be careful. So.
Yep. You and Sean, you're going high gravity today, huh?
Yeah. And it's like really early in the day too, but you know.
Yeah.
It's only 3.
Friday.
It's 3 o'clock your time.
3 o'clock. Yeah.
Yeah.
5 o'clock somewhere.
It's 5 o'clock, probably in the Bahamas. So
My son's in London. It's like 8 o'clock. So
there you go.
Oh, there you go.
All right. Well, let's cheers it up to a good show.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh yeah, this is delicious. It's like drinking
Jonathan and I
dessert.
are drinking out of our chug mugs here.
Chug.
Wood.
Oh, is that a
Wood
sponsor?
mug. No,
It should be if we can get them. If we can,
we're
How
trying.
cool. Is that a
we
rope?
can wrangle them.
Is that a rope handle?
Mm-hmm.
It is.
These are
Here's
very
some-
manly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So these are some mugs that we picked up during the holidays. I sent one to Sean. This company based out of is it I don't know. It's not Amsterdam. It's
Somewhere
it's like
over
the Netherlands or something. I don't
Okay,
know.
well, Amsterdam is in the Netherlands. So
Okay, then. Well,
Very Viking.
Maybe,
Very Viking looking.
maybe it
beer.
is.
yes, very Viking. It could be. I don't know. Maybe it's Norway. I think it is the Netherlands. But
Somewhere in Scandinavia is what
There
you're
you go.
saying. Okay. Chug
Yep.
mug.
And
Does it
it's
keep
chugged
it
with.
cold? Is it like insulated on the inside?
Yeah, they have a stainless steel sleeve. It's not insulated.
Mhm.
They have a stainless steel sleeve that screws in and out, so it's easy to wash, and you don't get
Yeah.
the wood, all the wood wet and things like that. But yeah, it's chugged with 2 U's.
Yep.
Okay.
Is the brand?
I even drink some coffee occasionally in mine.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Yeah.
absolutely. Danielle, what do you? Sounds like it's a good drink. What do you? On a scale of 1 to 5 pints, you can use decimals. You can do whatever you want. What do you? 5 being the best. What do you get that?
I would say it's like a 3.95.
Ooh, okay, So you're a tough grader. I like
Yeah,
that.
well, you know, I think like it's good. It's like, you know, it's hard because you can't have more. You can't really have a lot of this, right? It's very
Right.
like
Yeah.
sweet and heavy, and like so it's delicious.
It's
but
a
I feel
dessert
like
beer almost.
that it's exactly right. Like I feel like
Yeah.
it's a perfect sharing beer, like because it's so much to drink, but it is delicious.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say that like this is something I want to have all the time. So that's
Got it.
why it's not going to get like above a 4 for me. But
Right.
it's super smooth and yummy and approachable.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I recommend.
One,
Are you as hard
one's
on?
just all you need. All you need
Yeah.
is one.
Are you as hard on yourself as you are on your beer?
Yes, harder, probably way harder.
Sense that.
She doesn't grade on a curve.
Yeah,
No.
That's right.
I
I
sense
mean,
that.
isn't that like most business
Of
owners?
course.
Like most of
Yes.
us are pretty tough on ourselves.
Yeah, we're brutal on here. We give some really raw scores, and it's very hard to get a 5. You can't achieve a 5. Maybe we give out 3 last year, Sean, 3 or 4, something like that. I don't know.
I could think of 2 beers off the top of my head that would probably be a 5 for me.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So, but like in general for other things, very few things are going to get the perfection. That's for sure.
Yeah. It's hard to just dole that thing out. You're always hoping, but then.
Right. Cause then there's nowhere to go. If it's
exactly.
the top, then there's nowhere else to go.
That's right.
Yeah. That's why psychologically you don't want to be the first person at the Olympics to go in a round because you can't get the 10 or the, whatever the high score is. So
this is also, I talk to people and I tell them like, we can't all be the best because there's only one best. So it's like, differentiating yourself is how you make yourself the best option, but it doesn't mean you are the best. It's just under the circumstances.
There's no participation trophies, right?
We're
not doling out trophies.
Yep. So Jonathan, what do you give yours?
I'm going to go, this is a good lager, but I will give it I'll give it a solid 4.2. So,
okay, cool.
Yep.
Yeah. I'll give mine a 4.0. It's what I would expect from a Russian Imperial Stout.
Mm-hmm.
I might bump it up to like a 4.1 because this is probably the best deal on a 6-pack of dark beers that you can get.
Yeah.
Is this little, because I think there's a Russian Imperial Stout, a Scotch Ale, a quad, and something else that they're all like 9.5% or something. So
sure.
It's about the best deal going in when you get to that level of beer.
I appreciate you bringing the value into it. No, but like, it's not just taste. It's like you get a little bit more because it's affordable and it's a good value.
I actually was going to give my beer a 4.4, but after hearing you, Danielle, I downgraded mine.
You framed him.
I'm so sorry.
Right,
I brought you down to my level of judgment.
Price framing, point framing. Jonathan be that guy in all the studies, where there's one guy that's being tested and everybody else is in on it.
Yep.
Jonathan's the guy that gets manipulated.
Did you guys ever see Jury Duty?
I've never served.
The show Jury Duty.
Oh yes.
Oh no.
I didn't see that show. I saw like the first 5 or 6 episodes or something.
It made me think of that because he's the only one on the jury who doesn't realize it's all an act, and everybody's actors except for him.
Yeah, and it's
so good. It
over
is
the
so
top
good.
too. But what's funny is I actually had Jury Duty around the time that came out, and it was striking like how close it was. Like just the process is just.
Yeah.
I do not want a trial by jury. Just I don't know if I want that or not.
Just send you out to the backyard and
the level of
take you down, firing squad. That's it. Just put your
because all the smart people know how to get out of jury duty.
Right.
So it's
I do think everybody should serve at least once.
It was fun. I did it once. I did it actually twice in 1 year because the first time the case got dismissed, even though we got chosen.
Yep.
So it didn't count. But then the second time I got to go through it, but it was like a 3-hour thing. So it wasn't that bad.
You're very lucky.
Yeah. It was for a speeding ticket. The guy's like, oh, no, I want a jury.
What?
Wow.
No.
Who asked for that?
It was a speeding ticket.
That's crazy.
He was going to commit. He's going all the way.
He's like, everybody's going to back me up. We're all speeders.
Yeah, he ended up losing because he had a terrible argument. And he admitted that he did it. It's like, well, he didn't have a good case to build of why he shouldn't be charged, even though he admitted that he was speeding. So
he had to pay court cost. He had to pay for additional time. Man, that was
and drive over from wherever he was. Like,
just take the points. What are you doing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They probably would have downgraded it too to like changing lanes without signaling or something.
Yeah.
Or they would have dismissed it and just pay the court cost. Probably. Sometimes
pay the ticket.
Wow.
Okay.
All right. Well, Danielle, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We've now officially lost most of our listeners, so we can go ahead and get down to business.
Is it usually about the 14-minute mark that happens?
Yeah, talking about beer, they get bored and they just
are juvenile. Yes.
Yeah. But now the real
isn't
player.
That's the draw, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. So we don't care for the live listeners. You can go away. Those aren't the people who download the show. So,
Correct.
We get some nasty comments occasionally every now and then. So
those are the best.
Throw them up on the screen if they're PG or.
That's right.
Whatever.
Oh, I was going to ask. So should I not curse on here?
No, you can curse.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes we get some just spam comments that are not worth showing. So
right.
But
that is fair. Okay.
Yeah. So first of all, let's back up a little bit, Danielle. Yeah. How did you find your way into? I mean, copyright is a kind of a niche, crazy little world. How did you find yourself as a copywriter?
Yeah, I will try to cut to the chase because it could be quite a long story. I went to college to be an art director. So I went to art school, and in our program, we were not assigned copywriters. So you had to design your own advertisements and write them at the same time. And at some point, it became quite clear to me that I was a better writer than I was a designer. And then when I graduated, I could not get a job. It was like a really rough year. There was just no jobs at agencies. And somehow I stumbled into marketing in television. And my boss kind of took me under her wing and started like giving me all of this stuff that she wanted me to write, media kits and content and all of that. And I just realized I had a knack for it. But I was very reluctant. I did not want to admit that this is what I was doing. I thought I was selling out. I had written screenplays on the side. I was like writing articles, and I thought, I had a very high value of myself. And I thought that like what I was doing, to get paid to like shill programming was like beneath me somehow. It took me a very long time to finally admit that I could be good at it and that it was okay to admit that I was good at marketing writing.
Yeah. That is. I went through a little bit of that as well. Not as bad because I came from a sales background. So writing was like I was like, oh, I can stay at home and write. That's cool. And sell. That's cool.
Yeah.
So when did all that happen? Like, when did you get into, sounds like you went pretty much from college. I mean, a year or so, and then.
It wasn't quite. I mean, I waitressed.
Okay.
I had lots of random jobs. It took me several years.
To get some life experience behind you, right?
Correct. Exactly. I was like a PA on some like independent movies that never went anywhere, like stupid stuff. But it was, life affirming, if you will.
Yeah.
So I want to say like I didn't kind of get into like the ad sales marketing realm until I was 26, maybe. So it took me like a few years. Yeah. And then I worked in television for like a decade or more. And then I went over to an agency. So I went from like the B2B side to the B2C side.
Okay.
And then I ended up going out on my own as a freelance copywriter. And that's kind of what spawned the next iteration of what's now personality branding.
Okay. So tell us about, so when did that happen? The freelance transition, what year? I'm just curious, like, so I can also have kind of an idea like pre-AI and all that stuff.
Oh, very pre-AI, 2015.
Okay.
So I was like at a small agency. I got laid off. They cut like half the staff. And I had kind of tried to go freelance earlier. And then I ended up like at that agency getting like a permalance position for 5 years. Like it was one of these things that was supposed to be short-term contract and turned into long-term contract.
Love those.
It's a very interesting story because I came in on a mat leave fill-in, like a maternity leave fill-in. I was supposed to cover for the person. When she got back from maternity leave, the company decided to fire the entire creative department and outsource it to an outside agency. But I was still under contract. So somehow I was like caught in the middle. It was very awkward. I convinced them to let me stay and work on the business side, not the client side. And then eventually the CEO got caught embezzling and bringing prostitutes and doing drugs in the office. And he was ousted. And then they brought everybody back in-house, and I ended up staying for like 5 years. So yeah.
Wow.
Did that same CEO go to a Coldplay concert recently? Or?
Is his name called, what was the...
I do not know.
I will not
say the name of the company, but also they're not called that. They have a new name. It's like, But anyway, so when I got laid off eventually, and it was fine, I felt like, okay, I have all this of 20 years of experience, all these like previous clients and connections. I was like, this can't be that hard, right? Let me go out on my own. I have this like breadth of experience. And I will say for a couple of years, it was fine. Like I was able to easily use my network to get work until I couldn't. And I kind of woke up like a couple of years in and realized I wasn't marketing. I wasn't networking. I didn't know the type of work that I wanted to be doing. And I didn't know the types of clients that I wanted to work with, but I knew that the ones that I was getting were not a good fit. And so I ended up finding this creative coach that I'd been kind of following. I found like a podcast of hers, and I knew that it was like time for the niching. I knew I had to niche, and I was like super reluctant because, I feel like when you go out on your own, you think I'm going to do whatever I want. And like, no one's going to put me in a box and no one's going to tell me I have to do one thing. I want to do all the things. But of course, if you do all the things, nobody knows what to hire you for.
Right.
And so she took a look at all my materials and she looked at my website. I was just Danielle Hughes copywriting. And she was like, you have to put more personality into your website. And it just sort of like snowballed from there. Her whole philosophy was they're going to find out anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Meaning like we're all in a relationship business. And the more that you can let people know who you are ahead of time, the more likely you are to find people that are attracted to you already and what you have to say. And then your message starts to do the vetting for you. So,
is that where personality branding came from?
Kind
your
of.
own
So
journey?
it's kind of. So essentially what happened was I started to, be more comfortable. And it's scary, even for right now, this is my job. But, 10 years ago, the idea of putting more of myself out there and being a little bit real and raw was very terrifying. And coming from a corporate background, right? We don't do that. We don't brag about ourselves. We don't talk about ourselves that way. But what I did was I sort of baby stepped it, and I would just sort of like talk about things in a more like warm way. I started to revamp my bio, and people would come to my website. They would like the way that I was writing, and then they'd read my bio and they would say, I love your bio. Can you do that for me? And that's kind of like what started the bio piece. And then I had an idea one day for personality branding. So the idea of personal branding just never made sense to me. I'm a Gen Xer. I didn't grow up a digital native.
Right.
And personal means private. I'm a copywriter. I take everything literally. So why do we tell people to have a personal brand? But our personality is what makes us unique. And that's how we foster connection. And I thought, what if people can create a personality brand, which gives you guardrails. So you don't have to share everything, but you can share just enough that somebody gets to know who you are, you're building connection, and you're getting to showcase what you're good at. And it just sort of like took off from there.
Yeah, I like that distinction between personal brand and personality. And I think that's because the personal does it. That I think in our age group, we're all Gen X here, so like I've not heard anybody say it out loud like that. So yeah, that resonates a lot with the difference and putting up a little bit of a barrier there, like not your whole soul. I mean, thank God we didn't have video cameras.
Please, my entire college is in like a binder somewhere, hidden from prying eyes, right? Yeah. So, but yeah, I think so many people just felt like they had to share everything, and they didn't know where to draw lines, or that they even could draw lines. And so this is a way to
cause a lot of burnout, like when you're always in front of a camera and just, you live, that's your life. I can't imagine.
Yeah. Says the guy doing 16 podcasts.
But I also argue that it's almost more exhausting to keep pretending to be something you're not.
That's true.
If you're constantly hiding behind something because you feel like you can't be yourself, you're never going to be able to do your best work. You're never going to be able to build connection. Like it's exhausting because you're always in the back of your head thinking, what will they think? Oh, I can't say that. I can't be this. Yeah. And I know we were talking earlier about, the hats. I guess Jonathan normally wears like a hat. I wear baseball hats on calls with clients because I'm not hiding like who I am. Like I don't wear makeup every day. Like you're going to get me in all my glory because it doesn't matter. right? I'm going to be comfortable. That's how I do my best work. As long as the product is there, the clients don't care. And I'm sure certain ones do, but then they're not for me.
They're not for you.
So
Exactly.
the more that I can do that and let them know, like, hey, just so you know, you're not getting full glam every time we have a call.
Yeah.
And that's refreshing, I would say, you know, from your standpoint. It's like, I don't have to, you know, put on something, you know, put on an image that is not me. You know, this is who I am.
And what is the point of that? Like, why would I do like, I'm just going to do all this for what? You're still going to, the work is the work, you know, we just want to be comfortable. And I think it just puts people at ease. So I think, you know, peeling back those layers just a little bit. And that's
so funny.
No, please go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, you know, we all grew up in the 80s, right? So it was so funny because in the 90s, getting jobs, like the suit like reigned supreme back then, right? It's like, if you didn't wear a suit, you must be a bum. You must not take your work seriously. And it's almost flipped 180 degrees where now if you wear a suit, you're not trustworthy. You're probably, you know, it's
trying really too hard.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's interesting how it's flipped. Now, obviously not in all things. I mean, if you high finance, you know, they still expect the suits and
law.
There, everybody knows everybody's playing each other. So they're just trying to outdo each other at that point.
Sure.
I guess.
I love that.
Yeah. I think, that's a big reason I've stayed freelance and not gone into an office and all that kind of stuff, just for the freedom of that kind of stuff, you know,
comfort, right? Well, if you're comfortable, you're going to do better at everything. You're going to be more yourself. You're going to be more relaxed, right? You can't do a good job if you're constantly tense and wondering and hiding something and
resenting having to do certain things a certain way.
Exactly.
That resentment will show up quick, you know, in your calls and everything. So
and you know, I think there's like, not everyone has to be a super casual. You know, I know plenty of people that are like, I actually like to get dressed in my house and I want to like pretend like I'm going to quote unquote work, and good for them, you know.
And some people love dressing up. They just like the way it feels. They like the look.
Oh yeah.
Like,
exactly.
I'm just not one of those people. So and that's how do you, when you work with a new client and you're working on their personality brand, like what are some of the key things you start looking for and asking? How do you start to narrow down what's in the limits of what we're going to show and then what's kind of private and outside that?
I mean, a lot of it is up to them. So, you know, I have a questionnaire that they have to fill out, and then I talk to them for like a good hour. We do sort of like a follow-up, and it's like part interview, part therapy session, you know, just kind of like and I ask more questions about some of the things that they put in the questionnaire. And I will say, like, I recently have two clients that are sort of merging their business together. And I wrote both of their bios using a lot of their personal stories because I thought it was super relevant to what they do.
Yeah.
And they both were they felt a little bit uncomfortable about it. And like, that's fine. And so I was like, that's their job to tell me this is we're not so comfortable sharing all of this. And so I just tried to soften it and generalize a little bit while still keeping the gist. I'm waiting for feedback on that version. But I feel like I get people to tell me a lot, and then it's really up to them when they read it on paper to say, how do I feel about this? And like, sometimes I'll push and I'll say, okay, we have to do this. Like, this to me is like the core. So I want to keep this in, but if you don't want X, Y, and Z to be included, we can take that out. It's like, to me, it's what's going to be relevant to their story. Like, what do they do for business? Why do they do what they do, right? If they've overcome some struggle that they're now teaching other people, of course that has to be included. So it's just how relevant is it to their story and building that connection with their audience.
And do you like kind of, what are some of the questions you ask on the questionnaire, besides like the obvious, who do you serve, like those kind of things, but how do you find kind of that uniqueness, you know, beyond the niche, right? So there's a lot of people, even though we call them niches, there's a lot of people in any given niche.
Yeah.
Right. So how do you really start to dig out and find the true like personality? Do you ever use like alter ego type tricks with people, like where they think they're somebody else, or you really try to get down to something they're super comfortable with?
Yeah, no, I don't. We don't go like Sasha Fierce or anything. I was trying to think. Oh, Chris Gaines. I was trying to think of the Garth Brooks one.
Yeah.
Um, no, no alter egos. It's really just I get a lot of questions about like why. Like I want to understand like why they got into what they're doing. So
Yeah.
I kind of ask like, tell me about like your origin story. I ask how they grew up. Sometimes I'll pick up on something and I'll be like, oh, are you an older child, an only child? Did
Yep.
you have to kind of take care of yourself? Were your parents divorced? Or, if depending on their profession, there might be some sort of like natural, like one of my clients is an engineer and like he started telling me when he was a kid, he was taking apart computers and rebuilding things and stuff like that. Like, and it seems obvious, but it's like a nice kind of story that maybe if I hadn't said like, what made you get into this? He wouldn't have shared it. So
Yeah.
I like to ask people like who they were as a kid and like
Right.
how they think.
Engineers never think like that. They're like, what's the relevance of that? So
Yeah.
that's good. That's
They're
good.
coming around. They're coming around. So I work with a lot of introverts,
Yeah.
and a lot of people from like cultures where they're not really told to brag and it's very looked down upon. And so it's like finding that balance of you have to show up in a different way to differentiate yourself, but how do you do it in a way that doesn't make you feel like
Mhm.
in violation of some social norms or some cultural norms?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that you asked some of those questions, or you go hunting. So that's kind of what I was wondering. Like
Yes. Go
you're
hunting
kind
is
of
a good
poking
way.
around a little bit and you're listening for that thing that just kind of lights up and it's like, ooh, that's interesting. And I think
Yeah.
that's the job of a good copywriter is um, not to come up with the words, but to recognize the words or the situation or the story when they hear it.
Yeah. I
That's one
also
of
ask them like what they do for fun. Like
yeah.
that's like a no, that's like non-negotiable is they have to give me a hobby or a passion.
Hmm.
And I don't take like, don't tell me you go to the gym, right? It's like, what kind of workouts do you do? Like, it has to be super specific and
Right.
interesting. And
Yeah.
I will push and push and push until I get something that, and sometimes it's like the things come out and they're like, well, I am like, a belly dancer or something. And I'm like, what?
What?
It almost always relates to what they do or how they think. Like
Yeah.
99% of the time, there's
Yeah.
some sort of relation. And so that's also like a good way to start talking about it because
Mhm.
it makes you comfortable, right? No one wants to talk about what they do for work. But if you want to start talking about beer, 3
Mhm.
hours later, still talking about beer, and we've
Yeah.
never even touched on work, right? So that's how you
Right.
put yourself at ease.
Yeah. And I think people underestimate that. And it's hard to see for yourself. I think anyway, I think it's much easier to have someone like you, from the outside looking in, what's the old saying here in the South? It's like, you can't read the ingredients from inside the jar.
Inside the jar.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's just hard to see your own brilliance sometimes and
Right.
what makes you unique,
Yes.
what's your
Yeah. Because
chingy whip of Miracle Whip, tangy zip.
The tangy zip. I love that.
they're inside their head all day long, so they don't think something that's unique to them. They don't think it's that spectacular, but somebody else might. Right.
And most of the time we take for granted the things we do well. So we don't
Mhm.
even think to highlight them. Like most people,
Mhm.
if somebody does something really well and you say, "Oh God, you're so good at that." And they'll be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
but like everybody is." And I'm like, "No, no, everybody is not."
Yep.
And like the more you can appreciate that, like that means that other people will value it. But that's
Mhm.
really hard for people who excel at one thing. They just think because it comes so easily, it's not even something worth talking about, but
Right.
it's truly the only thing worth talking about.
And a lot of times
Exactly.
it's not even the skill that they're probably being paid for. It's like a tangent. It's how they do that skill,
Right.
Exactly. It's a
not the skill
characteristic, a
itself.
quality. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's like just the way they format their Google Docs is just always super easy to read and follow or something.
Mhm.
It could be something as silly as that. Like they just, it's always got the H1 tags just perfectly throughout the super easy, got the table of contents. And then you got your other copywriter who just sends in, you know, the words and it's just not great to read. Right. But so, yeah, those little things organized
Yeah.
make a big difference.
Yeah.
And then, so how does that, it sounds like you've studied this a little bit. So what is it about that that then attracts the right clients and repels the wrong clients? Like, why does that what have you seen? Let me ask you this, like, what kind of turnarounds have you seen from a client where they were just kind of not like before you, and then after you, they're doing the same work, but because they give us, if you have a couple examples you can share, that'd be fun.
Yeah. I mean, like, so I'll generalize and then I'll try to give like a concrete example. But a lot of it just has to also do with confidence of knowing how to talk about yourself and position yourself. And so a lot of clients come to me because their message isn't resonating.
Mhm.
And they're maybe spending tons of time prospecting and it's like nothing is converting. And a lot of that is because, you know, your message isn't landing. So the people coming to you kind of think it's something else that it's not, or you're so obtuse on the page that they don't even really know who you are. And so when they meet you, there's a complete disconnect between the person that's on the website or the LinkedIn and the person that they're talking to. And my goal is to like get that synergized, right? I want all my clients, you know, I always tell them like the best thing someone can tell you is you're exactly what I expected, because that means they already know who you are going in. There's already an affinity there. And now it's just, how do we, you know, cross the dots and connect the T's and all that kind of stuff. But I will say, so I have one client who is like a CMO for law firms. So she comes in, she's like a fractional marketer for law firms. And we worked together many years ago. And I just kind of went back to her recently. I'm trying to do these like, where are they now kind of, like, I call them Saved by the Brand. It's like a, you know, very 80s.
Yes.
And these are like delayed case studies, right? Because a case study immediately after you work with a client, you don't really get the full scope or impact of like how you know, what's changed with someone. But 4 years later, when they can say, I didn't even really have a brand when I came to you. And like, I kind of helped her synthesize. I helped her show up in a more confident way, know how she wanted to talk about her business. She's been able to scale. She's been able to grow. And, you know, it's the same, like you said, the same business, but it's a completely different way of framing it and talking about it, because she has a clear voice and a clear vision, and she can show up as herself, as opposed to someone who, you know, maybe has an air of desperation around them because they're struggling to find clients, or hiding yourself. And so you're taking everyone, and she had all these nightmare clients because she wasn't really being herself. And so she's getting people that would, you know, railroad her or not respond or whatnot. And when you can show up as yourself, you're also like saying what your expectations are and your boundaries are for your clients. Yeah. And I really believe that you have to treat clients like children. If you don't set boundaries and discipline them, they will walk all over you, but they truly respect it when you hold the line. Yeah. And I don't think you can do that if you don't have a clear sense of self or brand or confidence or any of that.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
So she was spending a lot of time marketing with very little results. So now she spends, how's she find people now, and like, how's that changed?
So I think, you know, I think the marketing channels are probably the same, but the conversion is different, because now when people refer her and somebody comes to her website, it's much more clear who she is, what she does, how her team helps. It's, you know, the framing is there, and they get a sense of who she is. And so when she then has that prospecting call, again, there's already a sense of who this person is, her capabilities, and there's just a comfort level. So I don't know that like the outreach or the marketing changes. I think it's what happens when you make that connection because of how you feel about yourself and how you feel about your brand.
I can imagine you would not want the wrong law firm as a client.
Especially today.
You better get one that resonates with who you are as a person, as a human being. Otherwise, that could be of all the tough clients, that could be definitely one of the toughest.
Yes.
So
speaking of which, what are there any specific, you said you kind of started niching or niching, however they say it, but
no, I don't think it matters. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. So are there any particular industry sectors that you are involved in, or, businesses that you like to work with specifically?
Yeah, I mean, I am still fairly like sector agnostic.
Mm-hmm.
Most of I work with a lot of solos and freelancers and entrepreneurs, and a lot of them can be in the creative field, but not necessarily. And then I work with a lot of like senior leaders inside of organizations, but it's like all over the place. I don't really do law. That is one area that I don't really touch on very much.
Yeah.
I don't work a lot in finance, but pretty much everything else goes. I have a lot of tech clients, like people in the product space.
Yeah.
Back to like what we were talking about with like engineers and product people, they tend to be very
they're horrible.
No.
They're
No,
terrible.
They're so lovely. They're just very right.
No, they're great people, but they're terrible about like identifying how their products, benefit others.
They tend to be socially uncomfortable.
They're features. They're all they get hung up on features always.
Yeah. But like in terms of themselves, they don't, they're not people.
No.
So it's how do you make somebody who is used to hiding behind a screen be able to become a people person? And what I have found, back to the hobby thing, it's amazing how everybody, I don't care where you're from, I don't care, everybody's got a hobby or a passion they love to do.
Absolutely.
And it lights everybody up to talk about it. And I have really found that I have so many clients where you make these assumptions when you first meet them, and then they completely flip those assumptions on their heads when you get to know them. And like, to me, that's the greatest joy, is like finding the person under the persona. So, and then being able to bring that out. And, it's in relative degrees, as we said. Not everybody is going to be big and bold, and you don't have to, but it's like, I say it's like value over volume. How do you showcase your value without having to be super loud?
Sure. Yeah.
And what does that look like?
Yeah, I bet the like stick rate of clients is a lot higher as well, because you're connecting at a different level than just transaction. Have you seen that with your own clients and with results after people do go through your process?
Yeah. So I'm very for a lot of my clients become friends. So definitely tends to blur the lines a lot. Yeah. And then a lot of my friends become clients. And so it is, it's very important to obviously delineate as much as possible when we're working together, but it does make for like a really nice relationship. And then they will go on to refer me. And similarly with clients, they get a lot more repeat business, because again, they can be more themselves. So that sales piece, right? Obviously, Sean, that is, they're connecting on that level of, building those relationships. And like, that's the biggest driver of business, is keeping and maintaining those relationships, right? Because if it's always transactional, you're never going to create that, desire for somebody to want to work with you again, because it's not going to feel good. Right. I tell people, I want us to be like, I want you to feel comfortable. I want you to be able to share things, and it might seem like quote unquote unprofessional, but it actually is just so comforting for people to feel like they don't have to like put on airs and have this persona.
Yep, exactly. As much as Gen Xers, we don't like the idea of safe spaces. Like your client relationship.
Not a fan of that term. Yeah.
Yeah. But the idea is, it just got taken way too far, but that is kind of what you want between a client and is you want that space where you can debate on a project if you need to, without each other getting upset, like all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's all important. So
there's huge I mean, I can see that, because people want to, what's the old saying? People do business with those they know, like, and trust. I mean, that's all of those three things, know, like, and trust is, that's a huge, that's part of your business, is making them comfortable, trusting you, and, having that conversation with them, I'm sure goes a long way to building trust.
And you can't do that if they don't know who you are. Like if someone doesn't know who you are, they're not going to trust you. Like end of story, it's over. Right. So it's like creating that ease of, I like this person, right? Like, let's just start there. Like, I like this person. It doesn't mean you're going to work together, but if they like you, you're 50% there, maybe even more.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Repel side for a second.
Yeah.
So let's say when you started doing this, because I mean, your website's pretty sassy.
Thank
That's
you.
how I would describe it.
I love that. I'll take it.
Reminds me of my daughter a little bit. So yeah, like, and you're pretty bold, like on your site. So I'm sure that repels a certain type. And I'm curious, like, do you get like some just flat out, this is unprofessional emails and backlash, or they just completely disappear? Like, how do you know if you're doing enough to repel versus not? Let's just start the ball rolling with like.
Yeah. And so I like to also I just want to remind everyone that repelling doesn't mean you're offending people, right? It just means that they're not coming. So the goal with Repel is exactly that. Like if somebody comes to my site and they're like, oh, she's a bit much for me. They're not going to reach out. Right. Yeah. And like, this is not Twitter. No one's going to send me hate mail. Like there's no need for that. Like it is by design to say you either like what I'm saying and how I'm saying it, or you do not. And so what I found was, before I sort of made the switch and kind of put more of myself, it was just, I was vetting everybody. And there were like painful conversations with clients because they had no idea who I was. They could see my work and they thought, okay, she's got some talent. Great. But like, I couldn't be comfortable. They weren't comfortable. I couldn't get a sense of who they were.
Right. That first client meeting, if like, if somebody's come to your website and they come through, then in that first client meeting, they already think you're pretty, bold. They already think, they kind of know how you think and how you talk about yourself. So you don't have to like be as like trying to figure things out or feel things out in that first client conversation. We all know first impressions, whether they should or shouldn't matter, they matter a lot and they're hard to overcome.
Yeah.
So your first impression is there on the website or your marketing material. And they're either going to be like, and I like there's no in between. Like either I can see how people would either like you or be like, oh yeah, she's too much.
Correct. And that's the point, right?
Yeah.
And
you got to create that barrier to entry, right? I mean,
yes.
or a screening process.
And for some people, just to make the point, like for some people, the voice may be the complete opposite, where it's really toned down, and somebody who's an alpha is going to be like, "Oh, I don't want to work with them. They're soft." Right?
Correct. Right. And I think back to that, like we were talking earlier about, we can't all be the best, right? This is how you distinguish yourself from everybody else, right? Because, we know there's, let's say, millions of copywriters out there. Yeah. So if I kind of, watered myself down and it was just like the work and there's like a little blurb, but you don't really get a sense of who I am. How does somebody make a decision? What makes the decision when all the work of the other writers is quote unquote equally as good?
Sure.
Where does that decision come from? That decision comes from how somebody feels about you, the provider, and what your working relationship is going to be like. And so all things being equal, the more that you showcase of your personality, the more you become the best option for that client.
Yeah. It's kind of reminding me, what's going through my head right now is your beers from Trader Joe's, and Trader Joe's is just another grocery store. Like they're not even a good grocery store.
You take that back.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people would argue with you on that one, Sean.
I know what you're saying, Sean.
And they're actually not even a good grocery store from a selection standpoint, from like, they're actually not the best at grocery storing.
Correct. They're not, right? They don't have the tons of stuff that, Stop and Shop might have, or a Whole Foods. It's very limited.
Kroger, or,
but it's very curated. They know they're
curated, and it's, and before, when you get the Fearless Flyer, like you already see the personality and all the stuff. So you kind of know when you come there, what you're going to get. And that it's, even like the freezers that are in the refrigerators that are down, they're the drawer style instead of the door size.
Yeah.
That's just a throwback because that's how grocery stores used to be. Like that's how the small town markets were, they were all the inside. You didn't have the wall of glass like you do now in most places.
Correct.
So little things like that. It's like, but yeah, they broadcast that in their font.
Yeah.
I mean, even the name Trader Joe's, it's like, it's got a certain ring to it. A certain type of image comes to mind, like all that stuff.
But it's so interesting, right? Because Trader Joe's makes it seem like like old school, like from the like, you know, like the Wild West or something.
Yeah.
And yet it's the most like urban,
Yeah,
hip,
they're all in urban
right?
locations.
So
Yeah.
antithetical to like the
But
brand
it's
perception.
the general store that was in the middle of town.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right.
So they've kind of kept that route, right? Because it
Yep.
is that general store in the middle of town kind of,
Mhm.
feel. I mean,
And
now
I
they're in
think,
the suburbs and stuff, but
and if
know.
you talk to people, right, they either love it or they're like, I don't get it. Like
Yeah, I don't get
some
it.
people
Yeah.
are just like, I don't get Trader Joe's. And I'm like, I will go nowhere else. Like, well, it's also, to be fair, it's across the street from my apartment. So it is
Yeah, that
very
makes it easy.
convenient for me. But I love them.
Well, it's
here
the
in
same
Texas-
with there's people that love Costco and hate Trader Joe's, vice versa, right? So there's, Costco has a lot, people that love them or hate them. The huge warehouse of everything that you can imagine in huge volumes that you get in bulk. And I think we were talking about this last week. They don't give you a grocery bag. You have to throw everything in your buggy, and then they check your receipt on the way out to make sure you're not stealing anything. It's like, okay,
not the warmest hug that you could get at all.
But hey,
meanwhile, your Trader Joe's is double bagging you with the nice paper bags.
That's right.
Exactly. Yep. You can return anything at any time. No questions asked. Right. All these things.
Yeah. And then, on the opposite end here in Texas, anyway, we have HEB, which is just it's the grocery store in Texas, even though we've got Publix and Kroger and, a lot of the other ones.
I love a Publix. I do love a Publix.
And that's, like Kroger versus Publix. Publix is smaller. It's better service. It's employee owned. Read a great article on that recently about
that. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Every employee owns a part of that company.
Wow.
It's like the Green Bay Packers.
Like I was just thinking about the Packers.
Yeah. And so people get and everybody gets promoted from within at Publix, like all the way up to CEO has started as a
bagger or like okay. Wow. Very cool.
Yeah. So that was I read that article. I was like, oh wow, I didn't know that. That explains a lot about kind of how they run and how they operate.
Yeah.
But
that's good. The point is you have to know, like you have to commit to what you're going to be, right?
Correct.
Within that. So, if you're going to be a Trader Joe's, then embrace it. If you're going to be a Publix, embrace it, because there's going to be a hate regardless. So, just embrace that thing that you've identified. Here's my core audience, and here's who we're going to, here's who we're going to embrace. So, that's
so Danielle, when you think about your niche, we've got your personality, but like you didn't niche in like a type of client. You niche more in a product or service, right?
Correct. Personality branding is the niche, right? Yeah. And one of the reasons that I didn't want to niche initially is because I didn't understand that. I thought I would have to niche what I delivered or the sector or the type of people. But what I realized is that the niche could be the service offering. Mm-hmm. For me, it's like, I also say, like, I'm not here to educate people. Like, you either know that you need my help or you don't. Like, people that are ready, who are struggling, who are like, this is so hard. I can't do this. Why is this so hard? Those are my people. I'm not here to like try to convince someone why their, about page or their LinkedIn is atrocious. Yeah. It's like when you're ready, you'll come to me. And if not, you can just keep staying, average and beige.
It's like if I'm a white paper writer, like you don't know what a white paper is, or you don't know if you need one, then you're not my client, right? If that's what I do. Like I want people that already understand the value of a white paper. They just want it good, and they want somebody that they can work with and they like. And I like niching on services better than industries. And I know some people do both.
Yeah.
Like you'd be a tech white paper person, that's a very specific niche, and you can stay very busy doing that. I just like the variety of different industries personally.
Yeah. And I think it's very scary. And I think so many people, the reason that they shy away from this is they think that they're going to like lose so much more opportunity. but you actually hone more opportunity because you get so many more of the right people. And like, we don't need everyone. You just need like a core crux of
especially a service provider. Yeah,
yeah,
you
exactly.
can only handle.
That's it. Like, what do you need? Like a dozen, 100, whatever it is. You don't need thousands. We just need those people that love us and want to work with us again and again and want to keep referring us.
Yeah, and that's the difference between a client business and a customer business, right? A customer business, you got widgets and products that you can scale. Service, you know, unless you read Buy to Sell or Built to Sell. I think that was the book.
Built to Sell.
Productize a service. That's different, but it's not always easy to do. And, you know, some people just don't even like to do that. So,
yeah,
I don't want to run a whole team personally. So.
No, keep it small. That's it. Keep it small.
Well, what else? We're starting to get near our time, Danielle. So what else do people need to know about personality branding and like attracting versus repelling? Like, what other wisdom do you have for, I can't even remember what your tease was. Did we cover that?
I think, we talked about is the difference in personal and personality. So I think we talked about it. I think people need to know that it's, well, first of all, it's a need to have, not a nice to have. Right. I think gone are the days when you could just kind of throw up a website and get business. You know, you really have to be intentional about how you want to show up. But I also think, like, I want to remind people that, like, this is about you being in control. How do you want to show up? Who do you want to work with? Right. None of us went into business for ourselves to work with clients we hate. Right. We could have stayed in corporate and done that. Right. I had a manager that we hated. So you have so much more control over who you work with and how you show up than you think. And you just have to put yourself out there in order to make that happen.
Yeah. And I think you have to be willing to be honest with yourself about the type of work you want to do and the type of clients, and 100%. Not be like drift over towards, oh, well, these seem like they would pay me more, so I'm going to lean this way, when that's not your thing. Right. That's how you get in trouble.
Yes. Yeah. So many people are like, well, I could do this, or I could do this, and I could do this. And I'm like, well, what do you want to do? Yeah. And that is so, you're like, people are like, oh my God. I'm like, no. What do you want to do? You get to design it. Let's just say the thing and let's try that. It doesn't, and nothing is forever too, right? Your brand evolves, you evolve. Yeah. Nothing is permanent. So it's not like just because you do it now, it's going to have to stay this way. You get to evolve.
Yeah. You get to change your mind if you want to. It's fine.
Exactly.
I've certainly done it a few times. So
yeah.
Questions, Jonathan? Anything else?
No, I was going to say, I love your approach and I love your message of personality.
Thank you.
I think it's a great message I'm in an industry where it needs more personality because I work with a lot of engineers and.
Oh, that's why you're hating on the engineers. Oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah. So
hopefully they don't hear this.
And I try to encourage them to, be themselves. And sometimes that's a little challenging.
It's hard because I think people are like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Right? Like that's such a expression that I think people struggle with. And it's not just like be yourself, but it's, how do you want to show up? What's going to make you the most comfortable?
Yep. And I think that's honestly, I think that's a new capital in, the industry that I'm in is like, getting content out there, whether it be through copy or through, video or, all of these platforms, that all the opportunities that we have today is like, I tell people, it's like, get content out there. Sometimes it doesn't have to be perfect. And I think that's a challenge to a lot of people that are in, professional industries or, engineers, is that everything has to be very scripted and very polished. And it's like, no, it doesn't have to be, not anymore, not in this day and age. It just has to be put out there. And sure, I mean, you don't want to look stupid, but you also want to reveal, the personality and some of the defects behind, like I think Sean and I have talked about this. No one likes Superman. Superman is dumb because he's perfect. He can do everything. Yeah. He's dull.
He's not perfect though. He has an Achilles heel, right?
He does. He has krypton. Yeah, he's got krypton. But we always gravitate in our younger years, talking about us Gen Xers, we always gravitate towards the guys like Batman who had some vulnerabilities.
Exactly.
And Spider-Man vulnerabilities. A lot of these Marvel characters had tons of vulnerabilities, and we like that. We didn't like the polished, perfect, Superman all the time.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
they're still superheroes, right? So they're vulnerable and they're raw and they're flawed, but they still have superpowers.
Right.
So both things can be true.
Yeah. In Marvel comics, I mean, Captain America, who's the most like Superman, right? The goody, he's the punchline most of the time, right? Because he's too perfect.
He's too perfect. I mean, yes.
Especially with Iron Man, and Tony Stark.
That's right.
Giving him a hard time. Like, so yeah, that's 100%. So, well, this has been good. So where do people find you? I mean, I've got it pulled up, but you can say it out loud.
Yeah, thank you. morethanwordscopy.com. And for my fellow Gen Xers, I apologize if now the song is in your head. That is not inspired by the song. Not inspired by the song. I hang out on LinkedIn. What did you say?
Yeah. I said that's kind of old school. That's going back.
It is kind of old school. I actually had very early when I first rebranded, and I picked that for the name. Yeah. Somebody reached out to me and they were like, "Is this because of the Extreme song?" And I was like, "No, absolutely not." And he's like, "Okay, I wouldn't have hired you." And I was like, "Well, you should not have."
Yeah. So now you make me want to put something on my website so I can rickroll anybody that goes to right at the top, right on the about page.
Rickroll.
You should. Gotcha. You should. I had 2 friends recently who never heard that term, and I was like, "What rock have you been living under? How have you never?"
They never heard rickrolled?
No.
Wow.
Crazy.
I don't know the backstory of that. I need to look that up. I don't understand why that became a thing.
I don't the first person to ever do it.
Yeah, and how it took off. It
was a nice little resurrection for Rick Astley, though. I mean, that was
literally reinvigorated his career, right? Yeah.
It was like, okay, that's cool. I'll embrace this. I mean,
no doubt.
I haven't
we're gonna go down the rabbit hole
in years.
Yeah, I have to do a little research on that. So,
well,
thank you very much, Danielle.
We're
gonna put you back in the green room for just a second if you've got a minute.
Yeah,
we'll wrap up and
happy to
have a little post-show chat.
Okay, absolutely. Thanks so much.
Yep. Good stuff.
Yeah. That was Danielle at morethanwordscopy.com.
Yep.
And she can help you retract the right audience and repel the wrong audience by figuring out who the heck you are.
I need to introduce her into the composites and advanced materials industry. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. That'd be fun.
She needs to get some authenticity and personality going in that industry.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. So, start dropping her name at trade shows.
Absolutely. At trade shows for sure. Well, good stuff. Yeah. Always good. Love the conversation.
Did I say we have a famous copywriter coming on soon?
We do.
I saw that in the StreamYard list of shows.
That's right. The legendary Bob Bly will be joining us next week. So
very cool.
He is he's become the curmudgeon against AI. So I'm looking forward to hearing him, pull his old man yelling at cloud rant on AI. So that'll be fun.
That'll be fun. Yeah, for sure. I would love to know how Clayton Makepeace would have seen AI.
Yeah.
Because I've thought about it. I can't decide I think he would have embraced it and just done amazing things with it. That's what I think.
Yeah, probably.
But then again, he might not have. So I'm just curious. Yeah. I may ask Bob Bly that question.
Sure.
He knew the
and he may have a few good things to say, but I don't think there'll be many.
Well, we'll find out next. Was that next week or is that?
That's next Friday. Next week? That'll be on episode 420.
And then we'll have to do a Super Bowl review. The Super Bowl commercials are already coming out, which I hate.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah.
I hate that they now send them out early. Like that just, I get it, but I don't get it. Like, I don't know. I don't like it.
Yeah. We have to have our annual Super
Bowl
old
man rant.
Critique. Yes.
That's my old man rant. Don't release the Super Bowl ads ahead of time.
No. Cause we look forward to, that's part of the reason why we tune into the Super Bowl is, half the audience is tuning in just to see the commercials.
Absolutely. Yeah. And now they're diluting that. So
yeah.
If I was whatever, was it Fox or whoever's doing it this year? NBC, I don't know who's doing it, but
I think it's CBS.
Whoever's doing it, I'm like, That would be required. Like, you're not allowed to leak the commercials.
No, that's crazy. That's dumb.
Because it's got to hurt viewership. So
no, that should be in the contract. Hey, you dripped this before, we're gonna sue your ass.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, we'll see. Yeah, that'll be a good post Super Bowl episode. The following, where we bash all of the advertisements during that game. So
there we go. All right.
To all of our listeners, you can check us out, persuasionbythepint.com. This is episode 419, and we'll see you all next week.
See ya.